Next up today is Fuel Cell Systems, a UK-based company which has been applying fuel cells to real-life tasks for nearly 20 years. They have a range of customers in the security sector who use their products primarily where off-grid remote quiet power is needed, such as for CCTV cameras. They say their fuel cells are very efficient providers of electrical power as they generate electricity by chemical means with no combustion taking place, and that they convert more of their fuel into electricity and less into heat. Fuel Cell Systems also manufacture hydrogen refuelling products primarily for transport and have supplied refuelling for planes, trains and automobiles across the UK and Europe. After the presentation, you can put your questions to them directly in the live Q&A.
Fuel Cell Systems provides a variety of environmentally friendly power solutions based on hydrogen fuel cell technology. We work with the best fuel cell products and manufacturers on the market. Our flexible design and manufacturing services provide bespoke power and refueling solutions to meet individual project requirements. Since our inception in 2003, we've provided solutions for many high-profile clients, including the BBC, Network Rail, the Environment Agency and the Met Police, on projects ranging from low-power off-grid to large-scale grid-connected projects. For our clients, we offer a range of products and services to deliver tailored power solutions. Our wide range of fuel cell products mean we can provide the best sustainable energy option for your application, power need and runtime. We provide off-grid products, where ongoing remote power is needed. These setups can operate for several weeks or even months without human intervention. We also offer a wide range of hydrogen refueling options, from emergency mini dispensers to fully plumbed-in static stations. We understand that often a standalone product may not be suitable or needs integration with other site infrastructure. For that, we offer our design consultancy program. Using our knowledge and experience, we can help you to select the best component parts and then connect them up in the most simple and efficient manner. These projects can encompass power ranges from a few watts up to megawatts, using a variety of sustainable fuel types: methanol, propane, natural gas and hydrogen. A fuel cell is a device which electrochemically combines oxygen from the air with a fuel to produce electrical current. This process happens without combustion or moving parts. As a result, they are very efficient, reliable and quiet. Other than electricity and heat, they produce only water vapor. These sustainable power providers can operate in all weather, are emission-free, quiet and require little or no maintenance. This makes them ideal for a multitude of services and applications. Here's how fuel cells work. Stage 1. A hydrogen-based fuel is passed across the anode, where it is split by a catalytic reaction into hydrogen ions, H+, and electrons. Stage 2. Simultaneously, an oxygen source is passed across the cathode side of the cell. Stage 3. The electrons are unable to flow through the membrane, and so are forced through an external electrical circuit to the cathode side, where they then combine with the hydrogen ions and oxygen to form water. The flow of electrons creates the electrical current, which charges the external battery. There are two types of fuel cells: high temperature and low temperature. High temperature fuel cells have long startup times and are generally higher power units. As such, they are best suited to continuous use. These fuel cells can have an impressive efficiency rating of up to 85% when heat and power output are combined. Low-temperature fuel cells have rapid startup but produce little in the way of usable heat. They're generally of lower power output, up to 20 kilowatts, and are ideal for standby and low-power, long runtime, prime power applications, such as off-grid CCTV systems, lighting towers, LiDAR and SODAR systems, hydrometry and telemetry applications, film production and forklift trucks. Here is Henry Mills and Dominic Wiley to give a rundown of some of our key products that are suited to the securities market.
Today we're going to look at 3 different types of fuel cells which use 3 different fuel cell technologies. They all operate in slightly different ways and are useful for different applications. First, let's take a look at the EFOY fuel cell, which uses direct methanol fuel cell technology. Direct methanol fuel cells use methanol fuel and combine that with oxygen from the air to produce electricity, carbon dioxide and water. When connected to a 12 or 24 bank battery, they'll look after your batteries and keep them at a healthy level. Installation and operation are simple processes. First up by connecting the fuel hose connector to a fuel cartridge. The EFOY fuel cartridges are made using ruggedized plastic and comply to the highest health and safety standards. Then connect the EFOY to the battery bank using the charge line. The charge line comprises of 2 positive and 2 negative cables. All need to be connected so that the fuel cell can sense the battery voltage but also send charge to the battery. You can configure the fuel cell using the operating panel. The operating panel allows you to view operational data from the fuel cell, but also to make adjustments to the configuration and different operating modes. EFOY fuel cells are perfect for applications with low power requirements and require long run times. One of the best advantages of methanol fuel cells is the high energy density of methanol. Methanol is also liquid at room temperature, which makes it very easy to handle.
The second of the fuel cells which we are showing today is the Sunfire Remote 400. The Sunfire Remote 400 is a solid oxide fuel cell which utilises technology at higher temperatures compared to the direct methanol fuel cell we just looked at. Solid oxide fuel cells use either propane, LPG or natural gas as their fuel source. The fuel is electrochemically combined with oxygen from the air to produce electricity. The Sunfire Remote 400 can produce 400 watts peak load at 24 volts DC to your battery bank. Once the unit is in position, then attach the exhaust hose. Next, connect the gas line and check for gas leakage. Then install the electrical connections and finally the battery. The fuel cell operates either in full power, half power or low power. The electricity output is automatically regulated according to the voltage of the battery. With a startup time of 3 to 4 hours, this fuel cell is ideally suited to backup power applications alongside large battery banks or higher power continuous applications such as remote telecommunications. The advantages of the Remote 400 are the global availability of propane along with the low maintenance requirement of the fuel cell. The 800M series from the UK company Intelligent Energy are all proton exchange membrane fuel cells utilising hydrogen as their fuel source. PEM technology combines hydrogen gas with oxygen from the air to produce electricity and water only. The 800M series is available at power outputs between 1 and 4 kilowatts at 24 and 48 volts DC. The units are modular, meaning you can connect them up in parallel to suit your power requirements. The hydrogen typically comes in a cylinder and should be connected to the fuel cell via a pressure regulator. The power cables are conveniently built into the 800M units so that they simply need to be connected to the battery bank. It is important to position the fuel cell so that air can be easily drawn in through the front air inlet. The fuel cell can be configured and controlled using a laptop via a CAN connection on its rear. With zero harmful emissions and almost no maintenance required, the Intelligent Energy units are excellent options for high power backup applications where minimising environmental impact is crucial. Its modular design gives it great versatility to be able to support a very wide range of power requirements. All these fuel cells work well with renewable power supplies. The hybrid combination of fuel cells and renewables offers clean energy all year round with runtimes that can last months or even over a year before site visits are required to refuel.
We've seen 3 different types of fuel cell using 3 different fuel cell technologies, but what they all have in common is quiet, reliable and environmentally friendly operation compared to traditional power generation methods. The security industry often requires off-grid power solutions for applications such as alarms, CCTV systems and lighting towers. Today we're seeing an increased focus on cutting carbon emissions, and more people are looking for cleaner methods of supporting their energy demands. Fuel cells not only meet both of these requirements, but they also run quietly and require very little maintenance due to the fact that they don't have any moving parts. For more than a decade, fuel cell systems have been supplying off-grid energy solutions into the security industry with an ever-growing range of products from manufacturers across the global marketplace. Not only can we provide solutions off the shelf, but we're also able to offer bespoke solutions and to help you integrate fuel cells into your own equipment.
Fuel cell technology is safe, efficient, reliable and quiet. This makes them ideal for a multitude of services and applications. Remote sites, covert operations, securing and monitoring off-grid locations, protecting assets and people. And our expertise in this field means we can find the ideal solution for your energy requirements. If you want to find out more, you can visit our website anytime at fuelcellsystems.co.uk. Alternatively, please stay for our live Q&A session, where we'll be happy to answer any and all questions you may have. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back to our Tech Talks today, where joining me now are Dominic and Henry from Fuel Cell Systems. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, David. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us both. We've just been seeing your faces on the video just now. So for the benefit of anyone who may not have watched your presentation or maybe joined a little bit late, could you, just for a minute or two, just set the scene for us once again? What is Fuel Cell Systems and what are you particularly keen to talk to our audience about today?
Yeah, okay, absolutely. Thanks very much. So Fuel Cell Systems, we're a provider of off-grid power solutions, all based around fuel cell technology. So as opposed to traditional methods of off-grid power production, like diesel generators, or even like the newer renewables with solar panels and wind turbines, what a fuel cell does is take a fuel source and it electrochemically converts it into electricity, which typically means very quiet operation, clean operation in terms of the emissions and no particulates. And yeah, so our company provides all different types of fuel cells. When we look at the security market in particular, there are a few models which stand out, which we've seen in the video, which would run off propane, methanol, and hydrogen. They're all useful for different applications. So what we tend to do as a company is listen to our customers' inquiries and say, well, actually, this is going to be the solution which suits you best, and here's why. And yeah, we're able to either say, yeah, fuel cell is going to be great in this situation, or actually, you might be better off looking down another power solution route.
So right fit, bit of consultancy there to make sure it's the right technology to address the right challenge. Interesting stuff. And we're talking about how this applies to the industries in which our audience today is involved. And we've got a question that's come in already. Please do keep your questions coming through. We've got another 10 or so minutes for your questions with Dominic and Henry. So one of the questions is, that's got the 4 thumbs up so far, how long will a fuel cell system power a CCTV camera for? That's what we want to know. What's the battery life with a fuel cell system for a CCTV installation?
Okay, well, for a relatively small footprint, with say a 50-watt CCTV camera, you could expect the E4 fuel cell, which Henry talked about in the video, that can last sort of 50 days or so. But with a larger scale footprint, you can go over a year in terms of runtime. And then your Sunfire unit, that can also last sort of 2 to 3 months with a relatively small footprint using a couple of 11-kilo gas tanks. The hydrogen unit you wouldn't really use for just powering a CCTV unit. It's more based around backup power. So I wouldn't really think about that here, but those are the sort of runtimes that you'd be looking at.
Also, as well as that being a runtime before you need to go to site to refuel, because the fuel cells don't have any moving parts, there's no site visits required for maintaining the fuel cell, which traditionally, if you're using a diesel generator, you've got several site visits a year to replace some of the moving parts.
Sure.
So yeah, it's when it works well, it's a very hands-off approach to providing your equipment with power.
Well, let's continue that theme of hands-on versus hands-off in that case. So, maybe you do have, and the use cases that customers come to you with better than I do, I'm sure, but a remote installation of a CCTV camera, for example, and you've got a fuel cell system powering it for weeks at a time, few moving parts, so you've got a fairly good level of assurance that things are ticking over nicely. Talk to me though about the remote monitoring capabilities. How are you able to, obviously you can see whether your CCTV camera is working or not, but can you get any remote diagnostics or remote fuel level? How much longer is left in terms of capacity for the remote fuel cell system?
Yeah, and that's something we get asked a lot, because obviously people want to be able to look at their systems and know that everything's okay without actually visiting site. So for all three of the fuel cells which were in the video, it's possible to attach a modem and then to look at the operational data from the fuel cell, from the batteries, and at the fuel level, so that it works in two ways. Like you said, David, there's remote sites where you're not going to send somebody out in a van if you're not sure that they need to drive, say, 200 miles, and they get there was actually no reason to go to site.
Yep.
But also for customers who have lots of fuel cells in lots of different, for instance, mobile CCTV cameras. Some of our customers have upwards of 200 systems. So again, they need to be able to just go online and easily at a glance be able to check over everything. And also, speaking about diagnostics, if there are any errors or anything which isn't right with the installation, then obviously you know that ahead of time, and then you're prepared to go to site, taking the bits of kit that you need to fix the problem, rather than just turning up blind and not knowing what's going on.
I guess the most efficient journey is one that you need to do and why you need to do it, rather than just going along to see a nice green light flashing. Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. Some great questions coming in. Please do keep your questions coming in for the next 5 minutes or so for Henry and Dominic. What about in volatile weather systems? People are really flexing their imagination here about where these systems might well be deployed. Will your fuel cells be able to withstand heavy rain, snow, or winds?
Yeah, so we've deployed fuel cells in all over the world, really. And in terms of the fuel cells themselves, if you just left it outside, then it probably wouldn't deal with the weather so well. But we provide solutions to deal with the weather in the form of enclosures. So these can be waterproof enclosures, weatherproof in the terms of the cold, and windproof, all of that really. The fuel cells themselves, they keep themselves warm nicely, so they can operate down to sort of -20, even regardless of whether they're insulated. So they're very flexible in that regard. I mean, I can think of an application that we've sent out to the snowy mountains of South Georgia, or the Highlands in Scotland. We deployed one on a buoy out at sea. So yeah, they're very flexible really in that regard as well.
I think sometimes we have to be careful with our marketing, because a lot of the best pictures we receive from our customers are from the British Antarctic Survey, who used them at the Halley Research Station in Antarctica. But actually, obviously, what we want to show more generally is that they can obviously be used in the UK too, and for security applications.
Yeah, and to be fair, there's a question along those lines here. What are some of the current off-grid projects you're working with in supplying power to security systems? So do you have any other examples then that aren't necessarily the British Antarctic Survey of where your customers are deploying these systems right now that you're able to share, obviously?
Yeah, I mean, one of the largest applications for a fuel cell in the security industry are mobile CCTV towers or trailers. Because the fuel cells are light and because the methanol contains a lot of energy, if you were to try and store the amount of energy within methanol in batteries, you'd be looking at having an absolutely enormous lorry full of batteries, which would weigh a lot. But because you can get this much energy stored in a small and light manner, then particularly for mobile towers and trailers, it's very popular. We also work quite a lot with several UK police forces in covert operations, and that's as well because the fuel cells are light, but also because they run quietly. So yeah, Dom, can you think of any others? I'd say those are the main two.
I mean, one of our largest customers is wireless CCTV. We deploy a lot of fuel cells for them for use in their remote CCTV towers. But yeah, those are good too in the security market. But outside of that, we also have worked with the BBC, Network Rail, Environment Agency. So broad spectrum, really.
One question, I appreciate we're almost out of time here, but one that's piqued my interest. Do you have any interest in drone battery solutions?
We have looked into that before. I know, as far as I know, we haven't worked with fuel cell powered drones, but that is an interesting area I'm aware of. It's a hydrogen, it tends to be, I believe, at the moment, and we do some work in hydrogen refueling. So I know we've had inquiries before and looked into that, but not something we're currently working on.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, and thank you everyone for your questions. We are just about out of time. Henry, Dominic, thank you so much. Just to wrap things up, tell us about what we can expect next, if there's anything that you're looking at working on next, or where people are able to find out more about what it is you're doing right now.
Well, I mean, very recently, as of March this year, there's a new fuel cell range which has just come out, which would be the most popular fuel cell in the security market at the moment, which is the EFOI. The new range has just come out and it's more powerful, it has a longer warranty, and it's actually coming out cheaper than the previous generation, which is really good news. And I think hopefully it's going to open up a lot of new applications for us. So maybe even if you've checked out fuel cells before, but not for a long time, it's worth coming back to us. You can visit our website, www.fuelcellsystems.co.uk, and then just pick up the phone and give us a call, and we'll be really happy to discuss your application and find out if anything's going to be suitable.
Super. Henry, Dominic, thank you very much indeed for your time just now and for sharing what you're up to at Fuel Cell Systems and how it might be of benefit to our audience today. A quick reminder before we go that we will be hosting more tech talks at Connect 2021, which takes place online from the 1st to the 30th of June. And also, as effective as these online events can be, like you, I know we're all itching to get back to meeting face to face. So we're very excited for IFSEC International and FireX International to be taking place from the 12th to the 14th of July at the Excel Centre in London, our old stomping ground. You can find out more and secure your place at both of these events by heading to the IFSEC International, FireX International, IFSEC Global website. We'll be very, very happy to see you at either of those events. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Our Tech Talks continue this morning at 10:30, where we'll be joined by Ultinous. Stay tuned. See you later.